Hey, it's Adrian with Ocean Independence, and today it's my pleasure to be showing you SIBELLE. Now, it's not the tender we're on, this is the tender to SIBELLE. SIBELLE is actually a 50-meter Heesen completed in the year 2015. I gotta say, she is genuinely one of my favorite yachts. Since her launch, SIBELLE has won numerous design awards, and just looking at her, sat right here on the tender, you see the beautiful uninterrupted lines. She almost looks like a layered cake all the way up to her plumb bow, giving her a very elegant and dynamic look. We'll be showing you plenty of drone footage throughout this video, but let's get right into things. Let's head over there, get on board, and show you SIBELLE inside and out. Let's get going. We'll start today's tour off on the beach platform. Quite a striking feature, simply a vast space. In addition, we have these huge glass panels just forward of me, which really makes you curious to find out about what's inside. Before we get fully into the swing of things, let me take this opportunity and mention that she's very much for sale with my dear friend and colleague Marco Vandoni. In fact, as a result, the owner has taken off much of his personal belongings. But I do think we can use this fact to our advantage because we can really imagine, how we would incorporate our own personal styles into the existing spaces. Just to give you an example, out here the owner would generally have a couple of chairs and sun lounges set up so you'd have easy access to the water and great sunbathing opportunities. But now, without further ado, let's just head inside right through this door. Coming down these steps, we get to our first interior space. It's a very unique space, and I know the word unique is somewhat overused, but in this particular case, I truly haven't seen a beach club of this nature ever before on a yacht in this size bracket. So what makes this such a special area is that it's a fully fledged beach club that you can use while underway. I'm even hesitant to call it a beach club because it does feel very much like part of the interior. In addition, it has great access to the main salon, just up those stairs through that door over there. So what are some of the cool features that we have down here? Well, let me start off with these insets that we have on the wall just to my left. And this can be used either for gym equipment, bands, or anything of that nature, or yoga equipment. In fact, that was how the owner was using this room primarily. Right next to the insets, we have a door, and you go through this door, you get to the engine room. So that gives you great access. And then you'll notice that we have an empty frame, and you might be surprised, but you'll recall I was mentioning that the owner took most of his personal belongings off the boat, so you can put anything up there from Matisse to Picasso to, to more, pop art, whatever you like, use your imagination, can go up there on that wall. And then next to the frame, we have access to a very sizable sauna. So you can do some hot and cold treatment on a day like today, warm up in the sauna, then run outside, get in the water, and then rinse and repeat. Then coming around the room, we have the seating area. If you're feeling a bit tired after your whole hot and cold treatment, you can sit down and rest a bit. And that wraps it up for this room. Before we leave, let me just mention the glass panels that I mentioned as we were standing outside on the swim platform. Quite a great feature because we get a lot of natural light coming in through these glass panels. And with that, let's head further forward. We have a day head in here and then stairs leading up into the main salon. Just up a short flight of stairs from the beach platform and the beach club is where we have your main salon. Out through here we have the main Deck Aft. Now, of course, SIBELLE being somewhat unique in her layout, guests can either access the main salon through this door and the main Deck Aft, or through the beach club up the flight of stairs we just came from. Given that we're in the main salon, let me speak about the interior design for just a second. It was designed in close collaboration with the owner. He'd given them a specific design brief because he knew that he'd spent a significant portion of the year on board. So the idea was to create a homely and very welcoming atmosphere. I think the choice of material is very important and was very well selected. In fact, we have teak paneling everywhere. I love the more natural finish. And speaking about teak, this is really quite the unique feature, and it's not something that you would generally find on yachts built in the last 2-3 years or so. Now, getting back into the features that we have in this main salon, we have a service area here, which is fully fledged really. We have an ice maker and fridge. Then we have these two bar stools. So we have created a bit of a bar area here. Now these can be removed, of course, if one wanted to. as well as the other soft furnishings that we have, which is this L-shaped seating area. Unlike what the name might suggest, the owner actually does not use this main salon as much as you think. In fact, the yacht was built more with exterior space in mind. We have 238 square meters of exterior space off the top of my head, really quite a substantial amount. And in terms of the interior socializing areas, the Sky Lounge, which we'll get to in just a sec, is where the owner chooses to spend most of his time. So let's move further forward past this divide. This is in fact not a structural wall, so if a future owner wanted to, he could have this removed. In this current setup, we have 10 seats around the table. I believe the table can be extended somewhat, so you could sit 12 people comfortably around this table. Behind the table is where you have further storage. You have your tablecloths and your cutlery. Now, in terms of crew access, we have access to the pantry and then the crew area just through these doors right here. Just through these very cool and very wide double doors, we get into the landing area. Now, the landing area connects all areas of the ship. We have access to the outside wraparound decks through these beautiful floor-to-ceiling sliding doors with great views to the outside. We have a staircase leading up into the Sky Lounge, and then further forward is where the master suite is. Really quite an impressive space, which we'll get to in just a sec, so keep watching. And then to my left, we have access to the dayhead. Now we'll just head down this flight of stairs. Before we get into the master suite, we'll tour the guest accommodation. The lower deck is dedicated to guest accommodation and crew, of course. Down here, we have 4 cabins, and those are divided up into 3 double cabins and a twin cabin. They're all fairly similar sized, so theoretically, if a future owner wanted to, we could use this vessel as a charter vessel, although she's currently just being privately used. If you'll follow me, you'll see that we have another double cabin mirrored, which is just like the one we were just in. And then we have this meandering corridor with recessed lighting that actually mirrors the flow of this corridor. And before we head into the cabins, I'd like to point out how nicely the wood curves. This really is impeccable craftsmanship. Now, to starboard, we have the last of the 3 double cabins, and coming inside, you really get a feeling for the spaciousness of the space. We have leather-clad ceilings. We have the wonderful wood paneling that you've seen throughout. Right opposite the bed, we have a TV screen. We have full AV equipment in this cabin. So even if you're down here, you're not going to get bored. I should also mention that all the cabins are temperature controlled, so you can adjust the AC to your liking. Today, it's a bit chilly outside, and in here, it's nice and warm. Moving through here, we get to the ensuite. We have the wood paneling that we have in the cabins. We have marble flooring, and I'd just like to point that out because it's really a unique experience. Walking through this yacht, you get all sorts of different textures, from the marble in the ensuites to different kinds of carpets to the teak flooring that we've seen in the main salon. Back to the ensuite, we have a mirror here, some storage below the basin, and then through here we have our shower. And I like the retro taps. Here we have a rain head, quite a spacious shower space. So that covers it for guest accommodation. So let's move back up and into the master suite. But before we leave this space, let me just say that you have crew access through here, which feels like an afterthought the way I'm saying it, but it's hugely important because it allows crew to circulate, to make the beds, to attend to the cleaning of the cabins without interfering with the guests. But now do follow me up to the master cabin. Coming back up these stairs to the main deck and taking a left, we head into the owner's suite, which is right past these doors. And I say suite consciously because a large portion of the yacht was dedicated to the owner. Reason being, he likes to spend a significant time of the year on board, so of course you need to feel at home. So stepping through the door and to starboard, we have an owner's study. You do need to get some work done occasionally when you own a yacht of this caliber, so you can do so in here. You have great views to the outside, you have a small seating area, and of course a desk. Of course, you can reconfigure this room to your liking. Now moving further forward, we enter the master cabin through a his and hers, which is perfectly mirrored and wraps around, so please follow me. It's difficult to find the right word to describe this space, because it really is a walk-in dressing room, an ensuite, a makeup area, all at once. So maybe somebody in the comments section will come up with a word for it. In any case, and it's very, very spacious. We have your actual ensuite over there. It's fully marble clad. Then we have your clothes rack over here, and then we have a nice mirror and basin right below it. Now moving further forward, we get into the actual master cabin. We have the same wood paneling and the neutral tones that we've seen throughout. I think this is bound to appeal to a wide group of people. It's both contemporary, classic and homely all at once. In addition, it's full beam, so it really is a great space. We have windows on either side letting in plenty of natural light. To the right of the bed, we have the small seating area. Then forward of the bed, we have some storage right below the TV. Of course, we have our usual suspects in terms of audio-visual equipment. We have an integrated surround sound system, which you'll have throughout the yacht, and everything can be controlled by the Crestron system, which means you can adjust your settings, what you want to watch on TV, what kind of music you want to have on. Wrapping around and moving back aft again, we get to the mirrored ensuite / walk-in closet. This is an almost mirror image of the walk-in closet / ensuite that we see to starboard. And I don't anticipate there will be much arguing between the partners or the spouses. I won't be going through this area again because I don't want to bore you. So let's head up to the upper deck. Coming up these stairs, we've reached the upper deck. We're greeted by landing of sorts. Now to my left and behind this door is where all the hardware for your AVIT equipment is located. This is a great aspect of SIBELLE because all the technical spaces are easily accessible, as the engineer told me. Now up through here we get access to our Sundeck. Then over here is where we have access to a small pantry with a dumbwaiter which runs all the way from the lower deck up to the upper deck. And then over here is where we have another day head. Entering the Sky Lounge, we have a service area very similar to what we've seen in the main salon. Again, you have your ice maker, your fridge. It's really a fully fledged area. We have these beautiful marble countertops. You can just imagine you're seated either on the L-shaped sofa or one of these chairs, and you're being served your drinks by the crew. The hardwood flooring here is covered by a very soft, silky smooth carpet, which feels very, very nice on your feet. In terms of the design up here, it's very similar to what we've seen throughout. The owner has actually left some of the soft furnishings on here. So we have the L-shaped couch that I pointed out, as well as the two seats right opposite me. The ceilings are leather clad as we've seen throughout. Again, we have full AV equipment in here. We have this large TV screen. We have our surround sound system. That covers it for the Sky Lounge. I believe one of the owner's favorite areas. But really, let's head outside now and tour the upper deck aft, because as I mentioned before, we have 238 square meters of exterior spaces. Can't wait to show you guys. So now that we're outside, it is of course time for my sunglasses. Now with them on, let me give you a rundown of the space. We're on the upper deck aft. It's one of many exterior socializing spaces. The space is simply huge. Right in the center of the space, we have a sizable wooden table, so very much sticks with the theme of the boat and the use of wood throughout. In its current setup, there's 6 seats around the table. If one wanted to, we could extend the table and make room for up to 12 guests. In terms of other items up here, we have built-in seating, L-shaped, and right in front of the built-in seating, we have 2, again, wooden coffee tables. Now, a cool design element here is the heating element right above the built-in seating. So on chillier days, particular, early springtime, you could still enjoy sitting out here in the evenings. Speaking about chilly days, there's another element I'd like to show you, which are these glass panels, both to port and to starboard. The glass panels shelter you from the wind that's coming in over the bow. In addition, I believe they capture some of the heat, so you can still sit out here feeling nice and cozy on a somewhat chilly November, December, January, you name it, day. That wraps it up for the upper deck aft. So let's move upstairs to the top deck, the sun deck. And while we're walking up, you'll note that we have lights under each of these steps. So at night, everything lights up from down below. Quite cool. Having started our tour on the beach club, we've now worked our way up all the way to the sun deck, and this is the highest deck that guests can safely spend and enjoy the time on. Of course, right above me is where the navigation equipment is, but more about that later. Getting back to the sun deck, let me start by pointing out the marvelous 360-degree views that we get. This morning, we had to think, we thought about where we might anchor to film this video, and I'm quite happy that we chose this spot because the views of the old town of Antibes are simply gorgeous. In terms of what we have on here, we have sun pads back here, and I do think that if 10 guests squeezed together, they could all fit on these sun pads. Not that I'm suggesting you should do that, but this is just to highlight how big these sun pads are. So forward of the sun pads, we have another wooden table. Cool feature here is that the height can actually be adjusted since the table is hydraulically operated. To port, we have a teppanyaki grill, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. And then further forward, again to port, we have a fridge and a wine cooler, so another complete service area. Now to starboard, we have a feature I'd like to point out, which is a DJ booth. Now I won't show you because it's currently not configured as a DJ booth because the owner did take off his personal belongings. But if you wanted to, you could turn this back into a DJ booth, and then this area, which is currently configured as a lounging sunbathing area, can be used for nighttime entertainment or even a daytime party. Now moving even further forward, we get to another circular shaped seating area. Again, a wooden table is right in the center. We have these cool glass panels letting in light from the above. In addition, you can see some of the navigation equipment that I pointed out earlier. The crew was telling me that on occasion, the owner loves to sit up here in the evenings or even in the late afternoons, enjoying an outdoor lunch or dinner with some of the great views that we get. And forward to that, we have even more sun pads. Now you may have noticed that there's no jacuzzi up on here. Now don't worry, if you're a fan of jacuzzis, as some people are, you could reconfigure this space as a jacuzzi with great views, of course. All the tubing has been put in for that, so really it would be quite a quick fix. That covers it for the sun deck. So let's move back inside, down these stairs over here, and further forward then into the bridge. Please follow me. This is the bridge, and although I've just reappeared on your screen, we did do quite a bit of walking to get to the bridge. So we went down a flight of stairs from the skydeck through a section of the crew area, and here we are now in the bridge. This is the navigational center of the yacht. We have mostly standard equipment here, relatively new. Consider the yacht's from 2015. We have all the usual equipment, so your satellite communication, your radar, your depth sounders, your engine parameters. Not going to go into too much detail, but let me just say that everything is fully MCA compliant and built to both class and flag standards. There's one thing in particular I would like to point out. She does have great at anchor and underway stabilizers. These are fin stabilizers. Quantum is the manufacturer, so she's quite steady both underway and at anchor. Regarding the cool features that I was mentioning, we'll start off with the hull shape. The hull shape is a so-called fast displacement hull. This is something that was developed by the naval architect Van Osanen. Now this hull allows yachts to cruise more efficiently at higher speeds. SIBELLE can hit 18.5 knots if you open her up completely. If you come back a bit, you cruise at 15 knots, she'll cruise rather efficiently. She has a 3,100 nautical mile range, so potentially if you wanted to, you could cross the Atlantic. Another system that I'd like to mention is the hydrogen injection system. So this was a system that was put in after she had been built, and the engineer that was very much involved in her original build is the one that came up with this system. So the way this works is hydrogen is injected into the exhaust fumes, purifying them, and this not only makes her more friendly in terms of emissions, but it actually makes it 4 or 5% more efficient. At least that's what the engineer tells me. Now, in terms of other features of the space, we have this nice little bench here. So if you want to watch the captain maneuver the yacht, you can have a seat here. So that covers the main technical aspects of the bridge. And there's a lot more to talk about, of course, but again, if you're really interested in all the details, do reach out to us and we'll send you full specifications. And so with that, I suggest we head out onto the foredeck, an unassuming area, but as you'll find, it hides some quite cool features. So the foredeck is currently configured as a purely technical space. We have two tenders over here. We have one 6.5 meter tender and then the next tender 7.8 meter tender. Really quite sizable tenders. However, these tenders can be lifted out without crane over there, and that really frees up this space. And the original idea when planning out this yacht was to use this space for entertainment purposes. So when you're at anchor and both tenders are in the water, you'd fold down the bulwarks, and we can't show you that, but you can imagine, that would add a significant amount of additional space and really give you unobstructed views. In any case, you'd have this big space for entertainment. We actually have the wires prepared, so you could set up a DJ booth over here. And you could even put up some sun awnings, and you can imagine you can have parties out here while the sun is setting. Really quite spectacular. Currently, this setup is a bit different, but again, that really does come down to your personal preference. Now, moving all the way forward, we do get to a purely technical space. We have our anchoring equipment over here, and then we have the bosun's locker, which is right down through this hatch. And with that, let's head all the way aft again, back to the beach platform where we started off our tour this morning, and that's exactly where we'll also be finishing things off. So we made it back to the swimming platform. This is where we started off our tour, and it is where we'll be wrapping things up for today. Now, as we head into December, days are getting shorter, so there was less time with good light available to us, but I do hope that we managed to convey all the features that make SIBELLE so special. And again, you know, she's immaculately maintained, she's an incredibly beautiful vessel, and genuinely one of my favorite vessels in this segment. Now, if anyone out there wants to buy her, you know, please do reach out to Marco Vandoni, who's listing her. We'll put his contact details in the description. And with that, I'll leave you today. You know, if you have any further questions, put them in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like our content, to share it, and to subscribe so that you're always up to date. Thank you very much, and see you next time.